steal this pirate's secret to winning loyalty and riches. I don't hate that because it is so weird. And I like weird. Imagine, I would just cut that. The moment you say to somebody, the year is 1776 and you're the richest pirate who ever lived, I don't think you need to tell somebody to imagine that. The person who hears this and goes, wait, no, I'm not. We don't want to be selling to that person. You know what I mean? In fact, you'd be worth around $169 million today in today's money at just 27 years old. You spend your days plundering Spanish treasure ships and rich merchant vessels, making your fortune from reselling gold, spices, and tobacco. It's not your boldness, your speed on the seas, or your ferocity in battle that you built your reputation on. It's your leadership. I don't hate this. Your name is Black Sam Bellamy, and unlike most pirate captains, you don't rely on fear and intimidation to control your crew. Instead, you value loyalty over loot. That's a killer line. You give everyone their fair share, you avoid harming people where you can, and you operate with a code of honor that even your victims respect. That's why you're not just rich, but legendary. It's at this point where I'm starting to go like, okay, are we going to get a breadcrumb? Where is this going? Here's the thing. The same principles that made Black Sam great can make you a better... right as I was feeling that objection, he answers it. Okay, I'm really digging this so far. This is really good so far. Now, let me tell you why. Last week, I was on a call with Mark Ford. Who is Mark Ford? We can't rely on people knowing who this is. So who is Mark Ford? And he said something that hit me like a cannonball. This is good craft. I don't talk very often about craft in copywriting, writing craft. Unlike most other copywriters who work, I'm what is called a technician. There are a handful of technicians out there. Mark Ford is a technician, where they care very much about word choice and syntax and subtle connections that people don't obviously see. This is technician shit. This is good craft, because this connects this unrelated thing back to the pirate story. We can tell it's deliberate. Like, nobody is going to say, like, hit me like a cannonball, like in casual conversation. So we know that this writer chose that. Good stuff. You need to love your audience. At first, it might sound obvious, but the truth is many copywriters, including me, sometimes lose sight of this. As you go through your career, it becomes easier to nickel and dime your audience. After years of writing hundreds of ad scripts, VSLs, landing pages, whatever it may be, you forgot you're asking people to part with their hard-earned money. And when that happens, it's easy to start seeing your audience as nothing but clicks, conversions, and revenue. In other words, you stop seeing your audience as people. Believe me, as a copywriter, this is one of the worst things you can do. Because just as Black Sam's crew wouldn't risk their lives for a captain they didn't trust, your audience won't continue to engage with a brand that treats them as disposable. That's where lifetime value comes in. Many copywriters focus solely on getting the sale, but when your copy is driven by overreaching promises to grab attention and force purchases, you risk alienating your prospects. There's a subtle story here that some of you may have missed. Many copywriters, including me, sometimes lose sight of this referring to that quote. After years of doing all this stuff, look at that subtle cred, digging a foxhole, whatever it may be, you forget you're asking people to part with their hard-earned money. So this is subtly telling the story of Alex and his experience. When it happens, it's easy to start seeing your audience as nothing but clicks, conversions, and revenue. This is the story of Alex coming to a realization about himself. And it's framed as a second-person story, something that you are going through. There's a reason why this is good storytelling. And it's because you probably didn't realize all that stuff was going on, but your brain did. Okay, we did this. He made his fortune in an industry full of thieves by doing the opposite of everyone else, leading with fairness and trust instead of fear and greed. You need to do the same with your copy. Oh, God, so good. All right, this is good. Customers see count. Okay, we're giving a little bit of proof here. Made by dishonest copywriters for crappy products every single day. With so many ads constantly fighting for their attention, I wager they dismissed 99% of them. Good. So how do you stand out amongst all the noise, lead with empathy, and focus on building trust instead of forcing offers down their throat? Because this was packaged with a story about a pirate, clear examples, it's way more palatable. as an idea. The one comment that I do have that I think could improve, he doesn't explain what LTV is. And so a person reading this would be like, wait, but what is lifetime value actually? Spend time nurturing your prospects and build a relationship with them, become their go-to company in that niche, turn them into fans. Hey, I mean, maybe I was a little premature, but at the same time, like, maybe this can come a bit sooner. I think it might be a little bit stronger, but at the same time, like, is this a deal breaker? No. I think Neem did a very good job, and he does eventually come around to describing this. I would have done a little bit sooner. So they come naturally. That's how you build LTV with your customers. If you want to master this, Sean made an incredible masterclass on building LTV for your clients on the eMarketer Master Plan. Inside, you'll learn 16 proven strategies to do all of this stuff. It's honestly one of my favorite masterclasses on the EMP. These strategies are so simple but missing from most online advertising, which is why they work so well. This particular writer, like I mentioned before, that he seems like a technician. You can tell he's a technician too, because this person has been dropping subtle, like, cool turns of phrase. You want a community fans rather than a pipeline of prospects. Put that on a t-shirt, and then click here. As Sean shows, a few small changes can move the needle in a massive way. Click here to unlock this masterclass. Always remember, not all treasure is silver and gold, mate. I would just publish this as is. I don't think it needs any changes. Like, I would want like Alex's opinion, but damn, that's good.